What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak, and we have a special guest on the show, former Mississippi State Bulldog and 8-year NFL defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Bucs, Seattle Seahawks, and Minnesota Vikings, former Super Bowl champion, Ellis Wyms. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Ellis.
Oh, man, no problem, man. Always good to get together with a fellow football fan and talk a little football.
Absolutely, and your career was awesome. Let's start at the beginning. You grew up and played your high school ball. Is it Indianola, Mississippi, and played for Gentry High School?
Yeah. I grew up in Indianola, Mississippi, Gentry High School. Down in the Mississippi Delta. Small town, but good people. And so I started with good roots. Got an opportunity to go to Mississippi State University and played at a great university. So, the state of Mississippi has been really good to me.
Very nice. That's awesome. What were those days like in high school? Was there a lot of good competition in that area?
The Mississippi Delta is an area, that traditionally, is a poverty area. I think Indianola, Mississippi was rated one of the poorest cities and the poorest state in the country a few years ago.
Wow.
So when you don't have those resources, I live here in Texas now, and these schools have all the resources in the world to kind of build their program in areas like the Mississippi Delta. It's tougher. So we didn't have a lot of guys that went D1, or because we didn't have a lot of money and things to put in the programs, but. We played hard, we worked hard, we did the best we could with what we had, and I was actually one of the first players to get a Division I scholarship, definitely to an SEC school from my high school. So it wasn't we didn't have a lot of tradition of athletes coming out of that area, but during my time we kind of started that tradition a little bit with my high school. Eastside High School had like 3 guys, Ken Lucas. Pork Chop Womack and Dorset Davis get drafted. We had some guys from Jericho High School, Greenwood. So, that generation kind of started the talent pool of football players coming out of the Mississippi Delta.
Yeah, you kind of paved the path for these, young guys nowadays. Did you have NFL as a goal back then in high school, or did you think it was possible to play professionally?
No, because again, when you grew up in those type of areas, those type of things seem so far away from you.
Mm-hmm.
You seem like kind of unplugged from those type of opportunities. And once again, I had never really seen anybody do that coming from my area.
Yeah.
So I never ever really thought about doing that. I didn't think it was something that was achievable. But I just kind of worked hard. To the best of my ability, I did what my coaches asked me to do, and I had enough talent to get an opportunity to go to college. And even in college, it wasn't like that wasn't really. It was on my radar, but it really wasn't because I wasn't a starter until my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't, I played a lot, but I wasn't a starter. It didn't really become real to me until my senior year, and I was on like some NFL draft rankings for defensive end, which I wasn't a starter, so I didn't. That was a surprise to me, and then the opportunity kind of became real. But again, when you grew up in areas like the Mississippi Delta, during that time, you didn't have a lot of examples of guys from that area leaving and going to play college ball, much less playing in the NFL. So It was all kind of a dream to me for that to happen.
That's awesome, defying the odds and coming out. That's very cool. What was your college recruitment like, and what led to you choosing Mississippi State?
College recruitment, that's a crazy experience. Again, you don't really, it's like you haven't seen it, so you kind of know, what the process is. I got recruited, of course, by Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Kentucky, University of Hawaii. Was trying to get me to come to Hawaii, which there was no way I was doing that. It was crazy, man. But I got a chance to visit all those schools and meet all those coaches. A lot of head coaches, came down to Indianola to visit with me. It was really cool to have recruiters stopping by the high school. You make you kind of feel like the big time when you got, all these recruiters from these schools you see on TV coming to your school to visit you and to talk to you and talk to your teachers. So it was a cool experience, man. That's like one of those things where it's once in a lifetime to get a chance to go through that. So it was definitely a blessing.
Yeah, that's very cool. That had to be an awesome experience. You go to Mississippi State, and I mean, you said you weren't a starter really until your senior year, but still racking up the stats: 120 career tackles, 10 quarterback sacks. You got to play with guys like tight end Donald Lee and corner Fred Smoot. What were those days like at Mississippi State, and did you enjoy playing for head coach Jackie Sherrill?
Oh man, it was a great experience, man. Coach Sherrill was more like a father figure to us than he was a coach. Just a great man. When you bring a lot of young men together, we're all teenagers, and we all come from different backgrounds and different situations. And he was very understanding of that. He tried to lead us and give us guidance and give us structure. So it was great playing for Coach Sherrill. And, that was my first time really being around a winning program. My high school program was not a winning program. We lost a lot of games. We didn't compete at the highest level in high school. So getting a chance to go to Mississippi State, and I think we never won less than 7 or 8 games. I played as a freshman, so like I said, I was a backup for 3 years, but I didn't redshirt. I played as a freshman, so I got a chance to play big time SEC football and see what it was like to go out and compete at the highest level, like every single week at Mississippi State. And I got a chance to play with some great players, some great guys, like you said, Fred Smoot, Donald Lee, Mario Hagan, Pork Womack. Just a lot of really good players. I played for Jolie Dunn, our defense coordinator, who was innovative and crazy and fun to be around all the time. So we had some great days at Mississippi State, and again, we won. We won the SEC West Division, which nobody's won the SEC West Division by Alabama in probably the last 10 years, maybe.
Yeah.
But we actually won the SEC West Division when I was there. We got up to number 3 in the country or 5 in the country, I think, at one time. So I had a lot of success there, and they really taught me what it takes to go out and be a great player. They taught me what it takes to go out and win as a team. So that was my first introduction to really a winning environment in football.
That's awesome. Sounds like a great experience. Then you would be selected by the Tampa Bay Bucs with the 183rd selection in the 2001 NFL Draft. What was your draft experience like? Did you have any expectations for going higher in the draft? And were you excited to join the Bucs and head coach Tony Dungy?
Yeah, I think once I kind of realized I was in the discussion for getting drafted, I got a chance to go play in the Senior Bowl. I got a chance to see, kind of check my skills versus guys and where they were ranked. I got a chance to go to the combine. So after I went through that process, I kind of thought, I had a chance to be maybe a 3rd or 4th round pick, because I was kind of looking at guys that they were rating in certain ways, and I'm like, I'm just as good as that guy, if not better. But it didn't work out that way, and of course at first I was disappointed, because again, I grew up in an area, of poverty, and not that we were just dirt poor. It wasn't like it's not like a hard luck story, but we didn't have a lot. And I was hoping to get drafted higher to be able to bring money in, to be able to help support my family. At that time is when globalization was really starting to kind of hit hard in small towns with factories and those things. And my mom, who worked at a lawnmower factory for I want to say 18 years, that place picked up and went away. So she was out of work. So it was a tough time for my family. So I wanted to get drafted higher, but I didn't. But it was an absolute blessing in disguise to get drafted in the 6th round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because again, I got a chance to get drafted on a team with a winning culture. I mean, the place you land, you can get drafted higher But if you go to a place in professional sports that doesn't have a good culture, then your career can be short. You can really not have a career because you don't have veterans around to kind of show you what it looks like to be a professional. But in Tampa with Coach Dungy and Monty Kiffin as the defense coordinator, Rod Marinelli, who's the defense coordinator for the Cowboys now, still considered one of the best position coaches or assistant coaches ever, was my defensive line coach for 5 years. So I got drafted into a situation with Warren Sapp, who was a huge influence on teaching me how to play the game, be a pro. Simeon Rice was my biggest mentor, and working with me, teaching me how to play, teaching me the work ethic that it took, and Derek Brooks and John Lynch, and it was just a lot of really Hall of Fame caliber great NFL players. So being in that environment really kind of taught me what it meant to be an NFL football player. So I got drafted in the 6th round, but I ended up having an 8-year career because of where I got drafted. And of course, getting the chance to play in the Super Bowl and be a Super Bowl champion. That's something that guys play 15, 20 years and don't get a chance to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an absolute blessing to get drafted in the 6th round, but to get drafted to that place in that time with those coaches and those players, that was a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, that Tampa Bay defense was so nasty and so loaded. One of my favorite defenses of all time. Like you said, Monty Kiffin, Rod Marinelli, even defensive backs coach Mike Tomlin was on that team.
Yeah, man, that's where Mike Tomlin got his start, man. Coach Dungy gave him an opportunity to come in and be the defensive backs coach. His first year there was my first year there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I had a chance to be around a group of great leaders, man, and it was a nasty, explosive, disciplined, hustling group of guys that just went out and played hard every single game. And I was around some very, very talented players. Warren Sapp could absolutely dominate games.
Yeah.
Simeon Rice could absolutely dominate games. And so those are the guys that I got a chance to be around every single day and just watch how hard they work, just watch how hard they competed in practice and games. So it was an all-time group, man. Again, a lot of those guys are wearing gold jackets now, and some of them will be in the future.
Yeah, so impressive. Such a great team. Even on the offensive side, Warwick Dunn, Mike Allstock, Keyshawn Johnson, Jaquez Green, all these guys. Now, one downfall of being on a team that's so loaded like that, your rookie year, you would appear in just 4 games. What was it like getting started in the NFL and establishing playing time on such a loaded roster?
At that time, again, they were a veteran-laden team.
Mm-hmm.
There were guys that defense had established itself as one of the top in the league, and they had a lot of veteran guys that they depended on, that they knew that they could depend on. And honestly, I needed that year to kind of develop and learn and grow. And so, a lot of times when you're a young player and you're not playing, a lot of times you're on the practice squad. But if you're on the practice squad, then other teams can kind of pick you up. But they kept me on the roster the entire year,
Nice.
basically to kind of protect me and develop me and to make sure I was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Again, I showed enough ability and talent and versatility in that training camp and the preseason to really kind of show them that I could be a good player. So again, they put me on the roster. I didn't play much. I was basically a practice player. But I got a chance to learn and grow. And in my second year, I became an integral part of that defense because of my versatility and my ability to play every single position on the defensive line. And I was for the most part in our Super Bowl run, we played the 4 starters and me. Because I was everybody's backup. I played both defensive end spots. I played the under tackle spot behind Warren Sapp. I played nose guard on 2nd and long and 3rd down.
Damn.
So my versatility as a player to be able to play all those spots to be able to learn all those spots, learn the technique for all those spots, really was, a huge part of us as a defense being able to just stay versatile. Guys could stay fresh, and I could just come in and I would play, a starter's amount of reps because I backed up everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to do it. Being that versatile, you get more and more playing time, so that's awesome.
They always tell you in the NFL, the more you can do, the more valuable you are. So you come in, and especially when you're a 6th-round pick, you come in and you say, hey, you need to go. They ask for a defensive end, I can do it. They ask for a nose guard, I can do it. Whatever you ask for, I can do it because I want to be here. I want to be on this team. I want to get a chance to live my dream. So I came in and was like, whatever you need me to do, I can do it.
That's awesome. That's a great attitude for a young guy coming into a team. After the season, after that 2001 season, the Bucs would fire head coach Tony Dungy and make a rare trade for a head coach from the Raiders, bringing in John Gruden to the team. How did you feel about that coaching change at the time?
I think a lot of guys were hurt by it. I mean, Coach Dungy, not only a great coach, but a great person.
Mm-hmm.
He was, a leader and a mentor to a lot of those young men. I mean, to Warren Sapp and Brooks, Lynch, Rondé, all those guys, Warwick Dunn, Mike Allstott, all those guys that were staples from the team from the time when Coach Dungy got there and the team wasn't really good, to building that team up to where they could play in the NFC Championship game. So I was a young player. I really didn't understand the business of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It was shocking to see somebody like Coach Dungy, knowing the type of man he was, for him to get let go.
Yeah.
But I think at that time, the offense was an Achilles heel to the team, and Coach Dungy, was the type of guy that he was going to stick to his plan and he wasn't going to change. And I think they kind of maybe wanted him to change up offensively, bring in some new offensive coaches, but he was going to be loyal to his guys.
Yeah.
So they ended up, letting him go and bringing in Coach Gruden, which was kind of a shock at first. But Coach Gruden is a guy that's super passionate about football. He's the biggest football fan on the planet. Like, he loves football. He loves football players. He eats it. He sleeps it. He loves it. And I think he came in and he kind of brought that offensive punch that kind of got us over the hump a little bit, where we can score some points. And our defense was built on being able to rush the passer, and it's hard to get chances to rush the passer if you can't get a lead. So we were able to score some points and put our defense in a position to do what they do best, which is rush and cover. So it worked out, and then Coach Dungy ended up getting his Super Bowl in Indianapolis with the exact same coaches that he had in Tampa.
Damn.
He just had a Peyton Manning at quarterback. He didn't have a Peyton Manning at quarterback.
Yeah.
In Tampa. So it worked out, I think, for all parties. And again, both of those guys are great coaches in their own right. They both do things differently, but both been very effective. I mean, Coach Gruden is the highest paid head coach in history, I think.
Yeah.
And Coach Dungy is a Super Bowl champion and hosting Sunday Night Football and enjoying his life as a coach and husband and father right now. So it worked out for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in 2002, like you talked about, I mean, you'd play in 14 games because of your versatility, record 35 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The team would go 12-4 and win the NFC South and go all the way to the Super Bowl. You were instrumental in all 3 playoff games, recording 4 tackles and a pass deflection in a blowout win against the Niners. That was your first playoff game. What was that first playoff game experience like?
Oh, man, it was crazy, man. I remember coming out of the tunnel, and they gave all the fans white towels away. So coming out of the tunnel and seeing all those white towels, the energy in the stadium, I mean, the energy around playoff football, there's nothing like it in the world.
Yep.
And for players, knowing that, you're still playing, while, the other, 20 other teams are still sitting at home, it's an amazing feeling to know that you made it through the regular season, you had a successful regular season, you outlasted everybody else,
Oh,
Packers
yeah.
on the last play to
Yeah.
win the game. So and then they had to travel all the way to Tampa with us being rested and healthy and ready to go. So they had no chance of coming in there and beating us. So we beat them pretty good, and I had a pretty good game.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you would also record a fumble recovery in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. So in your second year in the NFL, you're already going to the Super Bowl. What's that feeling like? There's a 2-week gap between the championship game and the Super Bowl. What's that, the emotions and the nerves getting ready to play in such a big game?
Well, actually, back then, in '03, it was only 1 week.
Oh, okay.
So we got back from Philadelphia, basically went home and packed our stuff, and got at the facility and got on the plane and went to San Diego. I mean, it wasn't a lot of time to kind of reflect on getting a chance to go. I mean, of course, you're super excited. The city, there's a huge buzz in the city because most of these NFL cities, man, they live and die by the football team. And the energy in the city is either up and high when the team is winning, and when the team is losing, there's kind of a lull in the city. So during that time, man, the city was on fire. And the fans were all excited. I mean, it was an amazing time. But it was a very quick turnaround. Again, you go home, you pack whatever stuff you can, throw it in a bag. Go. We have a meeting, and we get on the plane, and we head to San Diego. And have to get ready for all the Super Bowl week festivities. But as a second-year player, the veteran guys who have been there, like Warren and Derek and those guys, who really kind of took the team from when they barely could win a game to playing in the Super Bowl. I think they had a different perspective because they had been there and built the foundation. By the time I got there, the team was really good in my first year. I think we lost in the playoffs to Philadelphia that first year. And then going to the second year, we actually lost to Philadelphia during the regular season, and they ended up beating them in the NFC Championship game. So, for the older players, I know it was just validation for all the work that they put in. For me, it was just an exciting time. Like I was a kid. I was 23 years old. So I was just a kid and just happy and grateful and excited to be there. But I don't think I really knew how important it was and how hard it was to get there. Because when you get there early like that, you don't get a chance to see all the 5, 6, 7 years of work that those other guys put in to build that team to that point. But it was, just a great experience. I mean, it's what you live for as a football player, what you dream about as a kid. Getting a chance to be in that environment and be in Super Bowl week and going to media day, and it was a great experience, man. It's something I never forget.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Then you would show out in the Super Bowl as well. You'd record a sack on Raiders quarterback Rich Gannon and a fumble recovery in the game. What's it like, that confetti falling down and winning the Super Bowl? I mean, I remember watching that game. That defense was so dominating, just taking the ball away, and it was such a great game to watch. But what's it like winning the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's electric, man. I mean, just being on the field, and again, all of us have watched it on TV so many times, and players, a lot of us, I mean, most of us, all of us, we're fans too. I mean, we grew up as fans of the game. That's why that's why we play the game. Because we're fans and we love it. So getting a chance to be, in that moment, on that field, confetti coming down. I had my mom with me. My brother was there with me. It was just really, really, cool. And it's an experience that you can't go anywhere else on the planet and get that experience and get that feeling. And, looking back on it, just, really happy for, again, my teammates, because I know how much they gave, how much they sacrificed, how hard they worked to build that team to that point. Because, again, I was a person that, I played a lot, I contributed a lot, but the guys who built a championship culture there, they sacrificed and they gave a lot to build that team to a point where we can consistently win and get to a point where we can compete for a championship. So, just really, really happy for those guys in that moment. And, you have memories that you'll never forget when you go through something like that.
Yeah, that's so crazy. That's got to be an awesome experience. So you go into your third year, 2003. You would play in 13 games, record 24 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. But the team would fall to 7-9. You would miss the final 3 games with a knee injury. What makes it, in your opinion, so hard to repeat in the NFL? I mean, most of the same guys were still on that team, but it's just so hard. You rarely see a team repeat. What's the very next year after winning the Super Bowl like?
I think those guys, the core group there, had worked so hard to build that team to get it to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you get there, you kind of exhale a little bit. It's a lot of work. And they put in a lot of work, a lot of hours, a lot of pain, a lot of practices. Our practices with the Buccaneers, especially under Coach Dungy, were high paced, very physical. It's always very high in Tampa. So you have to put in a lot of big time work to be a part of that football team. It was a very high standard. So after you work like that and work that hard for so long, I think the guys kind of exhaled a little bit. And then you go through the off season, and the off season is shorter. Because you played all the way to the end, and guys aren't in the best shape possible. You're dealing with things with contracts where, guys who won a championship, we obviously got a lot of good players on this team,
Mm-hmm.
And guys want to be paid for their work, and you can't pay everybody. So, I think that may have had something to do with the mentality of the team coming back after that Super Bowl. But overall, I think this guys just kind of exhale and were just like, man, we finally made it here. Because it's different when you're chasing that.
Yeah.
Then when you get there and then you're trying to get the energy up and the drive up and to do it again, because again, football is a very hard, physical, fighting sport, and it takes a lot out of you physically, mentally, emotionally to rev up to be able to play at a high level every single week, especially if you get all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I believe it, especially in that era with how physical it was. You would play in one of the most unbelievable games that I can remember in 2003 as Peyton Manning and the Colts and former head coach Tony Dungy would go up against you guys on a Monday Night Football game, and an unbelievable comeback game. You would record a sack on Peyton Manning in the game, but an unbelievable comeback. What do you remember about that one against the Colts?
I remember being exhausted.
Yeah.
Because, again, they were throwing the ball every single play. And one of the most physically taxing things, probably the most physically taxing thing to do in the NFL is to rush the passer.
Yeah.
Because, again, you're giving all your effort on the get off, get to the line, to try to beat a line, to get around and get to the quarterback. And it was rush after rush after rush. And we just kind of ran out of gas. It was probably one of the most hurtful losses that I think we had. And I think that kind of took a lot of the wind out of our sails.
Damn.
For the season when that happened. Because, again, we pride ourselves on, rushing the passer and being able to close out games.
Mm-hmm.
We were not able to do that. And Peyton Manning, again, Hall of Fame player, great quarterback. If you let him get on the roll, he kind of becomes unstoppable.
Yeah.
And he was kind of unstoppable in that game. But yeah, that was a crazy night, man. Monday Night Football, because Dungy back, and you want to win that game, and especially when you're on national TV. But Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning, Hall of Fame player, great player, and you give him a chance, he'll figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah, I talked to Marcus Pollard about that game, and I believe he said it was Tony Dungy's birthday, too. So, incredible night.
Yeah, man, incredible night, man. And, always, Coach Dungy will always be a part of that Tampa Bay community no matter what.
Yeah.
He did so much for the community when he was there, just the man that he is. So, great for him. He got that win, but that was one I wish he didn't get.
Yeah.
We needed it, but I think we just ran out of gas, man.
hey, if someone's going to do it, I mean, you're talking about Hall of Famers like Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and those guys. I mean, they're incredible too.
Yeah, I mean, they were an incredible team, and again, that team eventually, they won a Super Bowl with those guys. So
yeah,
again, that was a tough game. Probably one of the toughest of my career, but it's still, it's a blessing to get a chance to compete and be a part of something like that.
absolutely. In 2004, you would play in just 6 games due to a shoulder injury, and the team would struggle, going 5-11 under new quarterback Brian Greasy. I mean, injuries is not too much you can do about that. That's going to happen in the game of football.
I struggled with some injuries, kind of throughout my career, a couple of shoulder injuries, some ankle sprains. Again, football is a physical sport.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody's body's not built the same way to take the pounding and the stress that you put on your body. And, I feel like, I had a good career. Injuries definitely limited my ability to kind of max out on my talent. I had my teammates. I had a lot of confidence in me. I had a lot of confidence in my talent. But I just, injuries, and especially with my ankles, I had a few high ankle sprains that really kind of gave me a flat tire in some seasons, and the shoulder tears really kind of set me back. So yeah, it's a physical game, man. It's tough.
Yeah, but 8 years in the not-for-long league, that's still damn impressive. In 2005, you would play in all 16 games, record 17 tackles, 2 sacks, a fumble forced, and a fumble recovery. The team would go 11-5, but lose in the wild card game to the Redskins 17-10. But you always played good football in the playoff games, record 2 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss, stepping up in the biggest games. What was it like that year having the young quarterback Chris Sims leading the team?
It was a really good year. I mean, I think that's when Warren had moved on. Simeon Rice was kind of our lead dog on our defensive line. Again, we had a young quarterback. But we had a good group of guys, and we went out and competed every week. And Coach Marinelli was still our defensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove us to go out and compete like every single week. One thing we were never going to beat ourselves. So we played good football. Everybody did their job, and we were that close. I think in that playoff game, we had a drop pass in the end zone.
Oh.
Chris threw a beautiful deep ball to the back of the end zone to one of our receivers, and I think he caught it, but he hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So we were that close to being able to get ready to move on to the next round, but didn't work out. But again, we had a great season.
Yeah, game of inches. In 2006, you'd play 13 games, starting 8 of them, record 30 tackles, 5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits on the season, but the team would go 4-12. And the Bucs would release you heading into the 2007 season, and you would be signed by the Seattle Seahawks on a 1-year deal. What was it like? I mean, I'm sure you weren't, excited to leave Tampa Bay, but, were you ready to go to Seattle, and what was that adjustment like?
That was a tough adjustment. Again, I played all of my career in Tampa. In Tampa Bay, pretty much raised me as a professional athlete. So getting released, that was tough. But I think for the first time, it kind of put me in a situation where I was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Going from Tampa, basically probably the farthest, south and east in the country that you could be, to the farthest, northwest corner of the country. I was still pretty young at that time, so it was, it was nerve wracking. I was nervous about making that transition, but the Seahawks, one, are a great organization. The front office, some of the people that were in the front office, Tim Ruskell, who was the GM there, spent some time in Tampa and was a part of the group that brought me to Tampa. So he kind of has familiarity with me. So it was good to come out there with an adjustment, totally different
Okay.
And it was good, man. You know, it was something that challenged me as a player, challenged me as a man. I spent most of my life in the South. You know, growing up in Mississippi and playing my pro ball in Tampa. So, you know, having to go out and live in a different environment, be in a different place, be around different culture, different people. You know, it was good for my growth as a person, as a young man. It didn't work out the way I wanted to on the field. You know, I played, but you know, coming into a situation where a team has been through a training camp and coaches familiar with the players that they have, and you have players that the GM may want to bring in, and then you have players that the coaches like and that they're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
So the tough situation to come in at the beginning of the season. Tampa cut me like right after at the end of training camp. I was part of the last cut.
Damn.
So trying to come in and establish a role with the team like that, it was tough. But the experience of the Seahawks organization, being out in Seattle, experiencing different culture, experiencing that city. It's an awesome city, a beautiful place to live. I really enjoyed my time out there. So it was a great life experience for me getting a chance to play in Seattle.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would play in 13 games, record 11 tackles, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and you would get revenge on the Redskins, who beat you in the playoffs a couple years early. You would get revenge in Seattle against the Redskins that year.
One of the best of my career was I played a lot of playoff football. I spent a lot of time on really, really good football teams.
Yeah.
So that was a blessing.
That's awesome. And then in 2008, you would sign a 1-year deal with the Vikings, play in all 16 games, record 8 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. Would come up short of the win against the Eagles in the playoffs, but you would record 2 tackles in the playoff loss. What was the year in Minnesota like?
It was good, man. Again, it's one of the things about life in the NFL as a professional athlete is adjusting to different cities. Every locker room is different. Every team culture is different. So it was good because they had good culture there. Great guys, Pat Williams and Big Kevin Williams,
Mm-hmm.
on the defensive line. Jared Allen was
Nice.
one of our defensive ends. Great guy, great player. And again, we had a great team. Adrian Peterson was the running back, so got a chance to see Adrian Peterson in his prime, up close and personal, and see how dominant, and physical, and strong and explosive. To see how he practiced and how hard he worked.
Yeah.
As an athlete, it was great to get a chance to kind of be around greatness like that. And again, we had a really, really good football team. Went to the playoffs, came up a little bit short in the playoffs, but I got a chance to be a part of a really, really good football team. And again, made it to the playoffs. I was on, a lot of teams that won their division, but a lot of teams that played playoff football. Played with a lot of great players, Pro Bowl players, Hall of Fame players, All-Pro players. So, all in all, it was a great experience, and it was really, 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 really cold.
Yeah.
That I did not like. That was probably the crappiest weather in the NFL. Because it's really, really cold, and then it's right there on the Mississippi River, so it's kind of muddy and dingy. But the fans there loved the Minnesota Vikings. That stadium, again, I played in Seattle and in Minnesota, and that's 2 of the loudest places in the NFL that you can go to play. So I had some good experiences with some great teams.
That's awesome. What a career, man. I mean, 8 seasons in the NFL, 139 tackles, 19 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. Looking back on your NFL career, what do you remember most, and what do you want to be remembered as in the NFL?
I think what I remember most is the moments with my teammates, the personalities of my teammates, the friendships. There's nowhere in the world that you can go to replace getting an opportunity to play in the NFL. There's just nothing like it. There's no environment like that. And again, to play at that level, I know sometimes, guys get in trouble, or the media kind of, paints guys in a certain light. But you can't play at that level if you don't have a certain type of character where people can depend on you and count on you week in and week out to show up for your job, do your job under a lot of pressure and a lot of scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a chance to be able to meet a lot of great men, a lot of great coaches that teach you, and you get taught lessons, not just football lessons, but things about life, family, and adversity, and perseverance that you just don't get in every environment in the world. So I'll remember those relationships and the lessons I learned, and the people I've been around. And as far as what people remember about me as a football player is I was always willing to do whatever it took to help my team win. I never felt like any job on the team was something that I couldn't do. And as far as our defensive line, I was a guy that could do everything, any position that they wanted me to play, not just physically, but being able to learn, the playbook and learn the nuances of every defense and every blitz and where I fit and where I drop and how things work and what's the flow of it. I think my legacy as a football player was a guy that was really, really talented, really smart, and a guy that could do everything to help support the team, support the defense, and try to get the job done.
That's awesome. What a player, what a teammate, and I think any team would be lucky to have you on their team. Someone that is willing to do anything to win and help their team be successful. That's an awesome legacy to have.
At the end of the day, it's about winning. So
yeah,
I got a chance. I was blessed from. I didn't have a lot of success in winning in high school, but from college to the pros, man, I got an opportunity to be on some great teams. So it was, it was a blessing, man. It was a great ride.
That's very cool. What are you up to these days, Ellis? You staying busy?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I run an educational foundation. My organization teaches computer science fundamentals to elementary and middle school kids. We try to create a pipeline of students in the AP computer science in high school. Technology is becoming a part of everything that we do. I mean, we're getting a chance to do this interview, and you're having your podcast and able to market your podcast because of the advancements in technology and computers and devices and internet. So, we're at a time in our history where I think a lot of our labor force is lacking some of the skills that can allow them to compete in a global economy. So, our organization, we're trying to build that pipeline up of young students who get into high school and are not apprehensive or scared or afraid to take that track in AP computer science to give themselves the best opportunity to graduate and hit the workforce and be able to demand a certain salary and be able to compete for the best jobs in the world. Our goal is to take these educational opportunities in the places that don't traditionally have them. And I have other athletes that we teach via video conference, so we teach classes, in multiple states and different places, and I have other athletes join me on the video conference and encourage our students. We get college students to come on and teach our students, and so we're working and growing our organization every day, growing our impact, and so that keeps me pretty busy building and growing our organization every day.
That's awesome. Doing great work. That's good to hear. And, I take away you're a great player, but it seems like you're even a better person. So that's awesome. Thanks so much for taking some time to be on my show, Ellis. It was an honor to have you on.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me, man. And like I told you, I'm always looking at, you're a young entrepreneur, trying to grow your business. And, again, I know, what that's like, and so, you try to be supportive and help people in whatever way possible to build their business so they can live their dreams. So, I appreciate you having me, and I'm glad I could, help you out in any way that I can.
Yeah, very much appreciated. Thanks so much, and have a good one, Ellis.
All right, man. Take care, bro.
Yep. See you, dude.